Hello, my name is Dr. Elizabeth Hughes. I want to take a few minutes to answer some questions that come up frequently. Questions about my background, my approach, what it's like to work with me, and why a physician should have a coach. So I want to answer all those questions right now. The first question that comes up is a lot about my background. So I am a dermatologist and I practiced for more than 25 years. About 7 years ago, actually I'm making this video early July of 2021, and it really was early June of 2014. I started to ask questions about what was wrong with medicine. Medicine clearly wasn't working for doctors. I had been frustrated for a long time, and I noticed that it clearly wasn't working for patients either. People weren't getting the outcomes that they should get. And for the amount of money and the amount of goodwill and energy and effort everybody in the medical system is putting into it, we're not seeing what we should in terms of an investment. As a profession, as an industry, that's probably a better way to put it. As an industry, medicine's really not performing the way it should. I mean, you lay it all out, it's really not performing as it should. And this is despite the really great effort of so many doctors. And I felt driven to figure out what that answer was. Driven for myself to figure it out, and driven for my patients. So my quest into the world of coaching started from this point of inquiry. What's wrong with medicine? Why isn't it really working? And what can we do about it? So that's how I got into coaching. So that was 7 years ago now, the beginning of my inquiry. I've actually been practicing as a coach for probably about a little over 5.5 years. And I have, over the last 7 years, even while I was practicing as a coach and before, I have invested in my own coaching practice continuously. I have paid probably $250,000 easily in different coaching programs, group trainings, courses, retreats, books, everything, one-on-one coaching. It is something that I've actually dedicated my life, the latter half of my life, the most recent part of my life to. This is not just something that I do because I don't feel like doing medicine anymore and maybe I'd like to do something else. No, this is my career, my passion, and I put the same level of dedication and the same level of diligence into this that I put into my medical career. Hands down. Same amount of time, effort, and money. When you think about 7 years, $250,000. Gee, that sounds a lot like what you pay for medical school and to get through medical school and a residency, right? The other thing about me is I know I am not done. One of the key aspects of coaching is that coaches should always be looking to increase their skills, to deepen and broaden their perspective, and to continue the inquiry for themselves. So this is what I do. I now devote at least 6 hours a week, usually more like 8 hours a week, 10 hours a week sometimes, to my own coaching development. That's not 8 hours a month, that's 8 hours per week. I am far more diligent with my continuing education and my continuing growth than I ever was as a dermatologist. That 50 hours a year or 100 hours a year that you need of CME, I blow that away now. I myself have my own coaches. I have a coaching cluster that is both a personal coach and coaching supervision. This is an important thing. You should ask, does your coach have a coach? Does your coach have coaching supervision? Therapists, for instance, are supposed to have therapy supervision. This is something that's really important. I am also a part of a coach mastermind, a group of coaches working together. This is important to me. This is something that I dedicate my time and effort and energy, my spare time for reading. This is my chosen profession and my passion, and I love it. I just love it. But there is a high level of professionalism and dedication to the craft of coaching that I have. And it's important to know, that about coaches. Ask them. Ask someone you might want to hire. What are you doing? Do you have coaching supervision? That sort of thing. So why hire a coach? So the first reason is you cannot see your own blind spots. Really good transformational coaching, which is what I'm all about, it requires a 360 view. And to explain this in medical terms, I'm a dermatologist, I'm a good dermatologist, I'm a good surgeon, but I cannot remove a melanoma from my own back. I can't detect it, I can't remove it, I cannot care for it, the scar afterwards. I need someone else. I need someone else to get the melanoma off my back, to see that it's there. The same thing happens in coaching. You need someone who can see your blind spots. And the second thing you need, along the same lines, is you need someone who is comfortable in pointing out those blind spots in a way that might make you uncomfortable. This is where my years of practice and skill comes in. I'm okay with your discomfort. I know this is part of your transformation. One of the things I experienced with so many of the coaches that I had before is they weren't actually willing to go to that edge where I needed to go. And I didn't want to go there myself. And the coach wasn't going to, I don't want to say push me, but wasn't going to be there with me. I am. I'm willing to have you be angry with me if it is in service of your greater development, right? And in fact, most people who work with me at some point are really angry with me, and I'm okay with that. In fact, I'm thrilled because it tells me we're getting to the point of actually transforming. So another question that people get is, so how actually do you work? And it's like, what methods do you use? Behind that question, I often hear is like, is there a best method? Is there a best way to do this? Like, what techniques do you use? And asking that question is a little bit like asking, what's the best type of food? Italian, Japanese, Moroccan. People will have 1,000 different ideas of what the best food is. But the point with all of the different types of food is there's no one perfect food, but in the end, you want to have a good meal, right? The same thing applies to the coaching world. There are lots of different techniques and lots of different ways to get to the point of transformation, which is what I'm interested in, to get to the point of transformation, and there's no one perfect way. In fact, I think that it's necessary that you have multiple different ways to take care of things. Otherwise, it's like walking into surgery with only a scalpel. You need other tools, other techniques. And what makes me unique, and sometimes a little hard to explain, is that I am not aware of anybody who does what I do. I have my own framework, and I do not know of another physician coach out there that is doing exactly what I do. And the framework is the important thing, the sort of overarching roadmap for getting you where you want to go. So unlike some coaches who will have a specific area of expertise, you're a physician, you want to transfer to a non-clinical career, I will help you take the skills you have in order to get a job in the biopharmaceutical industry, something like that. Or I will take what you've got and turn it into a leadership position, and you get interview skills and resume and maybe some tips and tricks, and there's nothing wrong with all of that, but I want to go back even farther and transform what it feels like for you to live in your own skin. Dermatologist, no pun intended. But that's what I'm really interested in, is having you view the world in a totally different way so that you personally know, is that pharmaceutical job really right for me? Is that really what I want to do? Or am I just choosing from a set of available options that I think I could do? I want whatever transformation that occurs and whatever next steps there are for you to be right for you. I want you to find your genius zone. And so you can't rely on one technique to do that. You say, oh, I'm just going to do this. If you want to get to that point where you're living in your genius zone, the way I live in my genius zone, you need a more complete, not only 360 view of where your blind spots are, but you need more than one tool. That's what you really need. When I talk about being interested in your transformation, some people will say, well, I don't understand exactly what that means. Let me give you a little bit of a medical background. Imagine a person who's just gotten a cochlear implant and all of a sudden has the sensation and of hearing, the sensation and the ability to hear after maybe not having it for a very, very long time. The world is the same world, but there's an extra sense, an extra way of processing what is going on for that person who now is able to hear where previously they couldn't. And they have to learn how to use that sense and how to interpret it, but it changes everything about the world around them, even though everything looks the same and everything might be the same, but suddenly you've got an extra sense. What I desire for people is that they develop this extra sense. And you cannot be aware right now, listening to me talking, you can't be aware of what that extra sense is. It is a different, looking for the right word here. It is just a different way of being in the world so that you face your problems, whether it's in your career, financially, in your marriage, with your parenting, with your siblings, like whatever it is. You face everything with a different perception and therefore can make different decisions and take different actions. And there you get different outcomes. So this is very, very different from the I'm going to teach you how to interview for a job position and spiff up your CV. It's a very different type of coaching. It is a total transformation, and that's what's interesting to me. And what's very different about me is I will know when you get there. Comprehension is not transformation, and many, many physicians, me included, putting fingers at me, confuse and conflate the idea of, oh, I get that intellectually, am I done yet? With actually not being done. And this gets people on this coaching, changing treadmill, and they don't understand why they're not seeing a difference. You need someone to tell you, right? You're not done yet. You're not done yet. You don't get it. You don't grok it. If you're not familiar with the word grok, G-R-O-K, grok, it really means to get something on a embodied level without words that you totally have understanding. Finally, I want you to find your genius zone. I honestly don't care whether you find it with me or with someone else. What I want for you is, a year from now, you pick up the phone and you say, oh my gosh, Elizabeth, this one video made me go out and find my genius zone and the world looks different. And I can't believe it. It's so different than anything I expected. And all I thought I wanted was a non-clinical job. that is the type of transformation that I'm interested in for you, and I think medicine needs. So thank you for watching. Bye for now.